All right. Good morning, everybody. We got a lot done yesterday. The vacuum cleaner really worked. That's dirty still, but there was a lot of crap there that I didn't have picked up, and it got like after dark, and that vacuum does use quite a bit of power. It's not really six horse, and it horse is like horsepower is 775 watts per horsepower. If it's true horsepower, that's why I was meaning that's just not real because it was only drawn like 1600, but that's a lot of wattage when there's no sun. So I did use it almost into the evening is what I'm trying to get at. I got to pick up crap still and have a place to put it. There's some metal junk over here that I got to take out and vacuum. Oh, did it do a nice job? The over there picked up all where the tools are and got them put away. Back over here is all clean. I mean, this is tracked up and dirty, but it gets like that every. We had really bad wind, so a little bit of this is just what settled in from the wind. But it's like magnitudes cleaner than like that. I mean, just and you really can't do anything with this shit. It is so small that no broom that is made, because I bought the fanciest damn brooms that you can imagine. Anything that said it was the very best, da 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 da, nah, no, they just lie. There's some junk somewhere. Oh, I picked it up and put it away already. But there was this green litter stuff that you put down on the floor. And that really does work, but it needs to be a clean floor to actually work. I mean, and you can't sweep enough of that other stuff away. That silt, um, well, just by definition, silt is like sand, but it's round. But it's a grain, is what I'm trying to get at, and it's 1,000 times smaller than a grain of sand. So if you got a grain of sand, make it 1,000 times smaller. That's silt, and that is like, and then you got like silt dust, which is crazy. You add water, you got quicksand. Um, but enough of the geology. Is we're doing pretty good, y'all. Unfortunately, I wasn't wrong about the whole Iran thing. The I do pray for everybody that uses petroleum in any way. It's not that we get anything from there, but it's going to disrupt the global demand, and that affects us. Period. Just one of them. If the war would stop today, you could still expect to see $7 a gallon gas across. I mean, not just California, but I mean across the nation. California would probably be 11, and that would be realistic. And for a couple years, if it stopped today, it's not going to stop today. Those numbers are just extrapolated. It's going to be worse than what they're saying is what I'm trying to get at. Um, and you can expect that fairly soon. And then everything that depends on diesel, everything does. Um, and I've been working with the AI. I wish I could do another thing on. It's for the railroad. Um, on all the old, the abandoned rails, those are perfectly good platforms for like intercity, from city to city trolleys and stuff like that, with renewable, because that way the trolley would be using sodium crude graphene batteries, big bulk storage, be able to travel up and down the rail because there's no real gradient to the rails anywhere. And if there is, adjust for it. But the car would be much lighter. It is, and it would be so much different than a normal locomotive. A conventional locomotive, that's why they abandoned the rails, is they could no longer support the weight of a 200-ton locomotive, that a traction motor that would crush the tracks. There's nothing wrong with the old tracks, like I said, for something the size of a trolley. That's they're made for much bigger, like 75-foot stock. 80 from 60 to 80-foot stock, rolling stock, is what those old rails are made for. It just, as long as you didn't go over that, you'd be fine. But I mean, and here was my thought. And anybody who wants to get in on or do something like this, hey, hit me up. I'll be more than interested in helping. Is to lay the hemp up like a boat, backwards in a form, and but to gel coat it in and all that happy jazz, so you'd have something to work with. But to actually make the frame, make the battery, make the whole 9 yards for the project is what I'm trying to get at, and then but the instead of having a conventional truck wheel where it's four wheels on two axles, big and heavy, this would be like a Hendrickson suspension over four axles, eight wheels, because these tracks are pretty heaved up. They're in bad shape, and to get it working without doing like multi-million dollars worth of investment or whatever. Later on, you could. I mean, I'm not saying you know, to avoid it, but I'm just saying to not make it the first thing that you have to do to make it work. Because it would even work for light freight, stuff that's too big for FedEx, but nobody else wants to deal with, especially up here in the valley. This is what I'm trying to get at. And the first idea, because we don't got rail, that secondary rail all the way to Denver. We looked, the AI and I. It's not complete. You'd have to either switch over to a bus or switch over to like RTA, the Denver RTA but we could go from here, from Alamosa to Albuquerque, and make a complete, and that gets you through like a couple of cool towns going that way is what I'm trying to get at. There's ways that you could, and it would be where you could use like two trolleys at a time, coming and going, or two coming this way, two going that way, kind of deal. And then, if the two on two, you'd have to have like like somewhere on these old rails, there used to be places for trains to pass. Those towns blew up or dried up and blew away a long time ago. But sometimes the infrastructure is still there. Sometimes they pulled it up and scrapped it. Whatever, they just left the main line. They did a lot of that in Arkansas. I was talking with a friend of mine on the same idea, and in the it's a shame because they grew up in a time when the train used to still carry people back along that little line, Um, nostalgia, I guess, is what it comes down to. But with electric, you could make something or even three trolleys actually. So one's always charging wherever that middle way stop is, like a 20, stretch your leg, pick up people. People would just have to adjust in that area. But I'm talking a couple 100 miles between Alamosa and Albuquerque, and that would be your only destination. But your only investment would be like three trolleys to begin with. I'm just rambling, y'all. Just rambling. I am so tickled about this floor. I know that nobody should be like that bipolar or whatever, but that floor was so depressing to me because you couldn't sweep it. And it's not like I didn't know that because that's what the old vacuum was for, but I used to run it off the generator. And I'd rather hit my thumb with a hammer than turn on that damn generator, is what it came down to. And in the time, my old power thing never had that much power to run that big vacuum because the vacuum I got is almost the same size as the vacuum I had. The other one was like 2200, so it was just too big for any kind of old power system that I had, is what I'm trying to get at. But now I got the new ones, and they got a lot of power, and so I'm really liking using the power. Like my cooker pot, love it. That's the second one. My first one died. I used it so much, but I'd just buy another one. I love it that much. It's just crazy good, is what I'm trying to get at. That vacuum didn't make. I mean, I love it, but that vacuum is like the difference between being an animal and being human, because you can't sweep this shit up in a wheelchair because wherever you are is still dirty underneath you. You can't like sweep next to your feet. You can't step around. You can't hop over it. You can't fucking. And if you got weak lungs like I do, and mine are for shit. That's what brought me out here, y'all. If you never knew, now you know. It is, and the irony of it is, my wife was about as big as a bed slat. So she didn't like to go outside until 11 o'clock, noon, 1, until it was fucking hot enough to blister your hide. That's when she would go outside. Fully dressed, fully clothed, long sleeve shirts, and you're going, holy dear Jesus. But she didn't like getting up before 9, 10. She just could not get up, okay? I had no problem getting up in the middle of the night. That's what I'm doing right now. It's still dark. I'm waiting. The chickens ain't even crowing, Maybe they have, but I didn't hear them. I'm waiting for daylight so I can clean the filter and get power. I mean, I got power in the batteries, but I mean, I don't want to torture them, that kind of deal. I just took a break. And there was crap there, and I had to get that out, and now I do, but I haven't cleaned the filter on the vacuum yet to start again. Oh, but what I was meaning is the vacuum has actually made me like have something to look forward to the next day, and I know that may sound dumb to somebody, but but you would have to know who I was ultra fucking freaked out about any amount of just disheveled crap. I couldn't live like that. And for this last little bit, from being upstairs with a different buggy, it was a two-wheel buggy, this all kind of went downhill like catastrophic or over time. But I lived upstairs. Right up here is right up there is the actual bathroom. Is the bigger space and all that, so it's not as tight and cramped. And I would like to get the wash machine out of here, back upstairs, all that. But the wedge that I had was DC, and it worked good. I mean, it was reliable, but it was fucking terrifying, just to be honest. It was just terrifying. Even though it was overrated, it was terrifying. And then when I got the new power, I bought a real hoist, and wow, what a difference that is! My weight, I'm barely the cable to hold the cable tension or whatever. That's all, and it goes up and down effortlessly, locks in place no matter where you're at. Doesn't like pop, snap, grind, whine. Have that magic smoke, smoke smell to it. It is much better. But that got me to using the upstairs again, is what I'm trying to get at, because I was pretty much locked down here because this thing cannot get up the old ramp. There was two hard 90s that it would need like a 5-foot ramp, and I had a 4-foot, which was pretty much crap. It was wooden, is what I'm trying. It was just not a ramp. And this used to all be open down here. The guy that was wanting this as a house, we were going to split the property, and I was going to build another house in the back. And he wanted this thing to be built as like a greenhouse. That's what the whole thing is. And I was trying to tell him that you wanted it. He didn't have like understanding. He lived in Louisiana, only understood how the sun came in Louisiana on the coast. He lived right down in the ocean. It had never been anywhere else in the United States, kind of thing. Maybe, a little. I don't mean never, but I mean never like lived to observe to understand there was a difference. And even the roof here is like this instead of like this. So it doesn't catch the sun in the wintertime like it should. It's great for solar panels, but I would never put solar panels on top of a house. Ever, ever, never, ever, never would I put high voltage DC on top of a house. That's just stupid. But that's just me, y'all. The whole idea of making your roof your solar panel, no, that's stupid. If there's ever a problem, it is right at the cause. Yeah, don't ever, or I would never put it that way. I'm not saying nobody never, and I'll probably get hate mail from anybody who says it's perfectly safe. I'm just saying high voltage DC that far from your roof or anything combustible. It'd be one thing if your roof was concrete or steel or something different, but if it's anything combustible at all or can catch anything combustible like leaves or pine needles or anything that it can get up there, no, don't no. High voltage DC is no way no. Um, you don't want that on your roof. Not on your roof. On racks, out back, whatever, great. I mean, um, especially where you can discharge the electricity that the wind is going to, when the wind passes those panels, it is quite a bit of charge. So you want to be able to discharge that because if it builds up a different charge, that's what actually sends up the leader that the lightning comes down and hits. That's why the trees get hit, in the wind. The wind blows by the tree, it builds up a charge. The leader goes up and then brings down the lightning and blows the tree out the hell. How it works, yo. I'm just telling you how it works. Take it for what you want, and always Google that shit because I might be wrong. That's just what I'm saying. Oh, well, I've been talking like an auctioneer, and I am still just tickled to death. It's not daylight yet. Chickens are up now. I think I woke them up. And but yeah, that's so nice getting that cleaned up. And I got another filter for the machine, and it's working really good. Inside, I've been opening up, looking at it. No, none of the little fine stuff. A little bit, but not a lot. Not the the other one just had a catastrophic death, I think is what it was. Um, but we'll get this cleaned up. And if even if it took like four of these things a year, that's like what I pay for my car insurance. And is it worth having a clean floor without having to try to sweep the shit up? Because a broom don't work going pushing it away from you. You got to sweep at you to make the fucking broom work. In a wheelchair, that is just not doable. Um, and do I want to hire somebody so I have to leave my house where they do it? No, I'd rather just use the fucking vacuum. And I did upstairs. It was working good. It worked for years off the off the generator, but the upstairs doesn't get this kind of dirt that the downstairs gets. This is a whole different level of windstorm dirt, or the back door. I mean, it would if you didn't put like a towel underneath the back door. That dust storm is some real shit out here. I don't know how to describe that at all, but the dust storms are real. Um, Probably just as real as anything. I mean, and they're dangerous to be out in, um, as far as breathing and all that. But yeah, I'm just tickled, Joe. And we're doing good on temperature. What do we got over there? 76 degrees in the floor and going back into the deal. So that's about an equalized temperature. And that's, I'd be calling calf rope if it was another month in. I wouldn't want it that warm. Um, but now I got plenty of power. I can get one of those little mini splits, 12,000 BTU or whatever, and pop it through and run it effortlessly off of what I got for power. So it's good. Um, I might do that, might do something different, but I am proud that I bought this vacuum. I had held off because I just didn't think I really needed it or whatever. Or if it was going to die the same fucking death that the other one did, why waste the money? But yeah, it's a different design or whatever. And so it's good. And the filter, you got to look over there. The filter for the big ones is different from the little ones. And if you go by just the CFM, they're the same physical size filter, but it allows like three times the CFM that the other one does. So in the one, it says it's 1 micron. This one doesn't say what it is at all. So I'm going to imagine because of the volume of air, it's somewhere between 3 and 5 micron. Just completely assuming, but as speculation, that's what I'm thinking. It's still small enough to protect the motor, hopefully. And if it don't, well, 90 days is on them. And they shouldn't sell it in Colorado because oh, this ain't nothing. This ain't nothing like special for out here. Is what I'm trying to get at. But is it catching up? Oh yeah, there still has a lot more to catch up. And but when I'm done, oh, I'll be so tickled. Y'all, you can't imagine how happy I am. I might even hire somebody to get one of them shampooer machines, come and shampoo the carpet now that it's been spalded. Um, when it has the first glaze, you don't really want to seal it or nothing like that. You can, but you really don't want to, unless you're only going to do foot traffic. But like for anything in the garage, anything with rubber tire, anything that's going to cross the damn thing, let it do this. Scrub it clean, and even though it's a lot more work, but you scrub it clean, and when you do, you can even put in like a little dab of that boracic acid and just scrub it around. It'll make it open up, and then you put your epoxy, and it'll really make it stick better. Whenever you put down epoxy and it pops back off, it's not like releasing from the concrete. It's the spalding effect on the top of the surface or whatever. And you can get rid of that by just adding acrylic when you pour the concrete. There's a ways around. I mean, I just ordered this. I didn't like mix it myself, but it works is what I'm trying to get at. And it's a tremendous battery, thermal battery for the system, because it gives me a place to dump the energy. The last couple of days have been cloudy. That's why I didn't push the system. And today we're supposed to get snow, like over a foot of snow. So it's another reason why I didn't push into the dark yesterday is what I'm trying to get at. But y'all, my arms are getting tired of trying to hold the phone, so I'm going to let you go. This has been the most tremendous day of my life. I'm just telling you, just tremendous. I'm ready for the space shuttle or some shit to fall on the house. It would be a complete life. I'm telling, just to have a clean floor, this would be a complete life. It would be good. Okay, we're going to talk to you there. Bye.